Hey, here we are in Parsha. We have to remember where we are. Shelach-Lecha. I'm gonna actually preface this week. I walked so much. Our car had a lot of problems, and that sounds very, I don't know. That sounds like my car had a lot of problems. Anyways, my car was in the shop the whole week. I took it to tune up, right, to get fixed. And it just required a lot of more walking. Like I literally walked every day 28,000 steps. Because Moshe, also where you send your kids, if you have a car, your life is different than if you don't. So it's not, and they're doing so much construction in this that there was times where I was just I can't take the bus because I need to get there quicker. So I walked so much yesterday. I got dehydrated because I left my water bottle and I walked and I had to go here and I had to go there and whatever. So I thought, oh, this is such a perfect parsha because here we are walking, and we're walking out Eretz Israel, and life is always going to be one of how we see it, right? So we're gonna. I had two in my processes of walking. I had two experiences that will be tied into the parsha. And I want to just look at this simple parsha, simply as it is, and it's so deep, and it's okay. Everyone's gonna say, "Yeah, Elana, I get it, I know that." And here we go. So we have Hashem telling Moshe. Now this is just the pshat. I know everyone brings in, and Mepharshim later on also in Devarim, Moshe himself says, "I did not want to do this," and Hashem didn't want me to do this, and we're getting into Hashem doesn't want him to do this. But let's just look. It says Hashem's telling Moshe Rabbeinu, "Shelach-Lecha." He's saying it right now. Go send out some men to do what? Vayitru. Okay? So, to tour. To be a tourist. Et Eretz Kenan, asher ani noten lebnei Yisrael. Ish echad lemate avotav tishlechu kol nasi behem. So, and also where are they going to go? He's telling them, and it's al pi Hashem. Kulam anashim Moshe bnei Yisrael hema. Okay? So, we are being told, we come into every single day of our lives. I mean, we're born, but we also have every single day where I feel like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, no, I have a mission for you. I'm sending you. Shlach is Lashon Shlichut. Do you think about that ever? A mission is to send somebody, you get a mishloach, it's very exciting, you get a package, you ask the pizza place, do they do mishlochim? Do they do, mishloach? And it means that I have a shlichut in this world. So every single day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, I'm sending you on your mission. And what's your mission? It actually doesn't say to, this word meriglim, spies, it doesn't say to spy at Eretz Yisrael. It says to be a tourist. So what's the difference, being Zaram Ashkenazi, between a tourist and a spy? A tourist goes with their camera and they say, okay, I'm going to check out the city of this, whatever, you're going to a new place. Even going up to the north, right? And you're a tourist there. It's not you're not looking at, all of a sudden when you're a tourist, you for some reason don't really see anything bad. You're not critical, you're going, you're taking it, because you want to show everyone else your pictures. So you're taking a picture of the sea and the sunset and the Kinneret and you're taking a picture by all these Kibbutz Tzadikim and the Shlach Kadosh and the Rambam. All you're doing is being a tourist means I also, let's say you're a tourist in somebody's house. Even if there's things you're I'm just here to visit. I'm enjoying myself. I'm sitting down, I'm eating their food, and I'm leaving. Right? There's nothing to, what bikurat do you need here? What investigation and criticism do you need when you're just a tourist, right? I'm just passing through. I've traveled in many, many, many places. And as a tourist, my eyes were always in. I want to take a picture. And I want to see the best things in here. Tell me, look at, where's the tour guide book? We were looking... I went to bookstore, an actual real bookstore, to try to find a tourist book because I want to find out what's in Eretz Yisrael. I'm living here for 23 years, but I want to see the places and let's go maybe on a hike or something. And so I thought, okay, why? Because I'm looking for the good, right? So Hashem is telling us we're on a mission here, and your mission is to go and to look at your life as one where you're a tourist. Because what's a meriglim? Meriglim. I don't know where I actually saw this word, this breakdown of it. I can't remember, and all the things I look at. Ma regel is a bitter foot. So if you want to be a spy, why do we send spies somewhere? You go send spies to Iran to look where all the bad places are, where there's weaknesses, so I can infiltrate and I'm trying to. And yes, military tactic wise, I do need to do that. Yoshua, he sent 2 spies because military there was a thing, but they came back. No, they didn't say anything to anybody. These men came back, and they're talking to the whole world. So what were they? They were doing like a spy, but that was not their mission. So also we have to think about what are the words that I'm saying to the whole entire world, including myself, about my mission in this day and this life. You know, I will tell you, for me, it's so clear. I work with a woman when she's expecting, she's pregnant, and she's so tired, and I get this a lot. I mean, everyone's so tired. Forget about when you're expecting. But my point is, when for some reason this woman who has a baby inside of her, and I tell her, you're doing 24 hours of Gemilut Chazidim, breathe, and you've done your tafkid. This is your shlichut. No one can be pregnant for your child. It's such clarity. It's so much clearer than the one who's like juggling 5 different things and doesn't know. And it's like, well, what's my tafkid right now? Am I supposed to be making dinner? Am I supposed to be sitting down with them and reading them a story? Or am I supposed to be like working right now? Or am I supposed to be, spending time with my spouse right now? Like, well, what am I supposed to be doing right now? I don't even know what my shlichut is in this moment. And we don't have the clarity, I think, like the woman, even though she gets so fogged up by hormones that she doesn't realize her beautiful mission that she has. But we do have to realize that every moment in all these things are the shlichut that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent. He's saying, Shelach-Lecha, I'm sending you on a mission in this life. 40 days. It's like the 40, there's so much with 40. Until conception, 40 weeks until you're born. And inside the mother's womb, actually, we are probably learning the Torah okay, I'm preparing myself for my shlichut. All the Torah that I will need, I'm going to forget it. But that's going to be, I just have to remember that I have a mission here. And my mission is really to be actually a Torah in this world. My mission is to take the pictures. It's very hard, but it's powerful because we're going to see what happens when we don't live a life like that, right? And I'm going to tell you. So, okay, my week actually started on Shabbos, even with walking. And what happened is that I saw a woman as a neighbor of mine, and she's such an attractive, beautiful person. And she's like, I don't know how old she is. I never know how old anybody is. She's older than me, because I see how, like, all her children are married and grandchildren, and she could be a great grandmother for all I know, but yet, I don't know, like, I really don't know how old she is. She could be in her 50s, she could be in her 60s, like, I have no idea. Liana, she's a beautiful woman, I don't know, and she has good koach and energy. Anyways, I see her with this, like, so on character of her, in our lobby with, like, a walker. And I'm like, so my first time, like, what happened to you? We're talking about walking. And I'm like, what happened? So she told me she fell. And I'm watching her walk around the lobby with this walker. And she said, now, mind you, in front of my building, I didn't even know how I was going to get here. Like, literally, it's impossible to get out of my building right now. This construction is just crazy. It's madness. Like, we have people in wheelchairs in my building. We have a Yad Sarah in my building. I don't know how they can do that legally. I don't know how the city can legally do such chaos for my building. They should do it in the middle of the night. They should fix it. Like, it's months now. It's crazy. So dangerous. Anyway, and my building is like, a lot of people in my building are at ages, and whether it's 4 or 80, it's very dangerous. Anyways, so she's telling me she's in the lobby, she's walking because she knows she needs to walk. Like, I said, well, when did this happen? She said a few weeks ago. I'm thinking, a few weeks ago, when you're walking, what did she do? She broke her whole entire pelvis. She fell and she broke her pelvis. I'm looking at her. I was in so much awe. Actually, I was in so much awe of her. I felt overwhelmed with awe of, my goodness, look how strong you're walking. She says, yeah, when I go out there, like, in our entranceway where there's all these pebbles and dirt and everything, balagan, she's like, I know I need the out here I need the walker because I'm too afraid I'm going to fall again. And I said, no, for sure. I said to her, use it. And she didn't fall there. She didn't tell me the story of how she fell. And it was like, whatever. I didn't ask those details. She didn't fall there. She could have, but she didn't fall there. But she, okay, so I was like, that's right. I told her that's appropriate. We use a walker in these dangerous places. And she says, but in my home, I'm trying to walk. I said, I can't believe it's only been a few weeks. And I told her something very powerful. And this is the Parsha, is that I said to her, most people who fall, they get scared of walking. I'm saying they get scared. They're going to fall again. That the first thing a person does, you fall in life, and you say, I'm not doing that again. How many people get stuck? I'm like, literally, she's asking me, what can I do? Because, I'm worried about the body and me, Mrs. like body massage therapy. She's like, what can I do for my, my pelvis? I said, you're doing it. You're not being afraid. You're walking is actually the way you're going to be fine. You're perfect. Like, there was no advice I could give her more than what she's doing right now. Just not let fear grip you and keep walking. And it's so powerful. We get so scared. We fall, and do we realize what happens? They come back. First of all, we do know that Moshe, he gives them a whole bunch of questions. Tell me what it's like. What's going on there, Eretz Yisrael? He gives koach he adds for Yoshua, who's going to be his representative of himself, he's adding Hashem's name to give him extra koach, right? We know. And what happens? They go to Eretz Yisrael. We also know that this is going to be for 40 days. Ve'alu b'negev. Okay, they come up from the Negev, which is the south. They're coming up from the south. And we know that Caleb goes to Hebron to daven by the kever the tzaddikim of our imahot and avot. And they're looking at everything. And then they come back, right? And they come out with these huge, big fruits. What would be anyone's dream to have such gorgeous, big fruits, right? And they come back. And what do? They start off and they say, okay, yeah, we arrived in Eretz Yisrael. And yes, it's just like Hashem tells us. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. And these are the fruits, right? It's like a lot of anticipation. It's like, these are the fruits. You know, take what you want from that. And then all of a sudden they start to tell about the people who live there, right? And these are very, very great. The cities are fortified and they're so great. And we see that these are giants, right? These people are giants. They're chazak. They're more stronger than us. And then it says that it's a land, Eretz ochelet yoshvea. This is a place that eats its inhabitants, right? And then they tell us that they're all, we know Rashi brings them from the Midrash. All the people were dying, right? Why does Hashem do that? Because he wanted to, so they should be busy, not looking at all these tourists, And then this is, I thought, so interesting. Look at the Lashon, how Hashem describes it. V'sham ra'inu et haniflim b'nei anak. Min haniflim. Then we see these giants, right, in English. But what's the word? Haniflim, nofel, the people who fall. I'm looking at this and I'm realizing all the things in my life where I have fallen and made a mistake. First of all, I've probably made it into a giant. I made it into such a big giant that I don't get up and walk again. How many people do that where they just get so stuck in their giants? Right? And what's the very famous is that they're talking about, what are they talking about? How they are in the eyes, right, of these giants. It says, Be'anenu b'hagavim v'ken ayinu be'aneinuhem. Right? So they saw them, these giants, and they were like grasshoppers in our eyes, and so we were in their eyes. Why does it say that? That they were like that in their eyes? We're saying like we're like ants. They are telling them, the people, what the giants think. How does anyone know what anybody's thinking? Mm-hmm. Right? Because what are they saying? I know what I'm thinking about myself. I know what I'm perceiving about myself. So that's what I'm like projecting onto you. That's what you're thinking about me. And then we have hysteria, right? We have absolute and complete hysteria. And they want to go back and they're like, we should have died in Egypt. I'm saying such drama, such hysteria, right? And let's point a new person and let's go back to Eretz, forget of this Moshe guy. And then Moshe, they're just like, they don't even know what to do with themselves. They don't even know what to do. It's such a sad, like crazy of what happens. So I want to talk about, so what I want to talk about, number one, is that we have a shlichut in this world. Hashem sends us with a mission. And I really do think that the times in my life where I'm just so stuck is because I'm finding that this is my shlichut. I'm just finding that this is what you want me to be doing, Hashem, or accepting my situation, or accepting the person in my life, or accepting whatever it is. The more we fight it, then we're not understanding that this is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what does that mean? That means that if it's my shlichut, it's like the woman who's expecting this child, she has to understand that you're the only one who can do this. So therefore, get strength and realize Hashem will give you the koch to do so. Right? But we get confused and we start having, which I want to talk about, charedot. We have panic attacks and we have fear and we have these that we think that they're giants, right? But they're noflim. The word giant, where does that come from, noflim? Like, where does falling become a giant? It's because anytime I fall, if I do not get up, like this woman, I blessed her. I thought she was the most amazing woman. It made me cry thinking about how much koach she has and how she's getting up and she's walking. And of course, it's if there's a reason why a person is not walking, it's because Hashem's ratzon, that's your shlichut. Right? And it's because of other reasons from other things that we can't understand. But what are we supposed to do? You try your best and you get up. And you don't let fear grip you that you're stuck and you can't get up because you're so afraid of a fall. That's not even a reality right now. Right? So what happened? taking Moshe, we're walking, it takes us a half an hour with Moshe, 4-year-old Moshe walking to Gan, okay? And then all of a sudden, like I was talking to him, I don't know where that, and all of a sudden I see, and I almost stepped on a cat, okay? The cat was like if I almost stepped on the cat, it means it was a very relaxed cat. It wasn't, it was like chilling.
Because
usually they'll move, they'll go somewhere. You're coming up, a little 4-year-old bouncing child and this like energetic mother walking is gonna move the cat. Yeah, it was fine. Anyways, I almost stepped on the cat. This, I don't know, maybe it was a lazy cat. I don't know, but I almost stepped on the cat. And I was like, oh no. And I said, I almost stepped on a cat. And then what does Moshe start saying? We almost got eaten by the cats. He says, the cat almost ate us. I'm like, where did that come from? Moshe probably has a fear of cats. He's a 4-year-old child. Most kids have fears, especially if they don't live with them, of animals, right? And what does he know? So all of a sudden in his 4-year-old mind, he's telling me that the cat ate us almost. So I said, no. Mommy almost stepped on the cat. I was like, I almost hurt the cat. And he again repeated, and I said, we're going to tell more Melky. You can tell more. I said, no, I didn't say we. I said, when we get to God, you can tell more Melky how your mommy almost stepped on a cat. And he repeated it again. He then said one more time, like, I'm going to tell her that the cat almost ate us. I said, no. The cat, mommy almost stepped on the cat. I said, Moshe is bigger than the cat. And then after it took a good 4 or 5 times for me repeating this, then Moshe finally said, mommy almost stepped on the cat. Which shows me a very powerful thing about our perception of reality and what we say and what we see. I don't know if we could ever trust ourselves, to be quite honest.
It's also like the cat is like a lot bigger to him.
The cat's a lot bigger. Okay, that's very true. The cat is a lot bigger to him than he is to us. I agree with you 100%. That means, how can I mean, really, the child's perception is always going to be a lot bigger. So their parents are going to be a lot meaner and a lot more unfair and a lot more everything. That's a very good point to take into account, that my memories are maybe coming from a little kid, which is vulnerable also. Like the child is more vulnerable and more, but it's not necessarily it's not necessarily one where you're going to help, like that you're going to trust your self-esteem based on what your child's telling you, right? It's not necessarily one where also you can right away trust the reality of, but okay, let's put the point is how many times have I looked at something and I'm really like, they're attacking me, or like this is an insult, or this is like really unfair even. I can't tell you how much I'm not talking in necessary relations, but breaks up inside of me, breaking up there is because perceiving something that is completely and totally not the reality of what the other participant was thinking, doing, or saying. And what was key there? It's how we talk about things. This is right after the Parsha of Miriam. We know this. It says, Rashi brings, why smoke this when the spy, why do we call them spies, and we put together, we just oppose what happened with Miriam. She's talking about, why didn't she just talk to Moshe directly? Why did she say to Aaron, you have the best intentions, Miriam, you're a tzadikah. But why don't you just go to if you really are so concerned, just go to your brother himself, meaning Moshe. Why are you bringing Aaron in this? Why are you making esek? You know what the word esek is? Like business. Why do we make business out of everything? Because every time we're making a business that will lead to separation, which is what the spies were doing actually. They led to separation, both between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and believing in him, between us as a fraction, as a nation, between us and our leader. That is not coming from truth. Even if the words are true, it's not coming from truth. I mean, it's not reality, actually. Because there really is only one true reality, which is Hashem. So either we have eyes, I mean, this is like all the time. You either are going to put on eyes of Emunah, which is a seichel elokit, which is I need to see this through Hashem's lens, or I will put on eyes of actually it's an intellect. It is still intellect. It's logical. Why a cat could eat me? It's not that do you realize that the imagination and the koach of the Yetzirah and the Mame is not something that cannot happen? If a person starts to freak out thinking they're not going to be able to pay ever their bills, they're never going to marry off their kids, they could get sick, something just happened to me, I fell, and now maybe I'll never walk again. It's not that it's coming from nothing. There's always we know this from Haman, there's always some truth in everything. Amalek to put effect is you get the truth and then you embellish it. So it's 10%. Yeah, maybe 10%, that could be, or not even 1%. but to even let's say 10, 20%, all of a sudden you made it into 80%. The cat ate me. The cat didn't even scratch us. It didn't even, I mean, it was alive, but it didn't, it like didn't do anything. I mean, because I didn't step on it, thank God. But like I'm saying, it didn't do anything. It was just like, it didn't care enough to meow at us even. Like, right? We are no different than Moshe. So what do we have to do? So there's a couple of tricks here. There's a couple of tricks to dealing with our fears, right? And each one also has to understand that their neshama and their nefesh is built in a different way. Right? Some people look at life differently. I mean, no, everyone looks at life differently. There's these different, right, are different sodot. You know, some people are more fire, some people more water, some people more air, some people more earth, right? And each one has its pluses and minuses. It's not that there is anything bad or good. It's all of them. It depends on how you use it, right? The passionate person is a lot of fire, okay? It's a wonderful thing. It means you feel, you love. You also probably get angry and you get, I mean, there's jealousy and maybe there's gaiva, right? But if you don't have fire, you don't have love and passion, you won't do anything also, right? The person who doesn't have emotions, right? So then also how emotion is, regesh is a gesher. You can't connect to people. But that's also could be taivas and passions that are not healthy for you and lead you to things that you shouldn't really stumble and fall. I mean, there's nothing, you know, being a person who's very like misudar, very organized and aesthetic and takes care of things is a wonderful thing. But being too stuck in that and again, feeling like you're not actualizing your potential and it drives you down is depression and laziness actually, right? All of the elements and all the things of who we are good and bad, right? But so there are certain things that one person will say that works for me and one person will say not. But the understanding that what a fear is coming from, it's not coming from Hashem's reality. That's what I can tell you. It's not coming from a reality, and the reality is I'm sending you on a mission, a shlichut, and you are big people. He sent Nasim, Ish, like it's a person who's a big person. Trust yourself. I came in here to do something. This is for sure for a parent, that what you can't handle your child, you can. I don't believe that. Even at times you feel like you can't, and of course you're the junior partner, Kadosh Baruch was the senior partner, but you have to know you're the parent. Trust yourself. And you have to know you're the daughter. Trust yourself. And you have to know you're the neighbor or the wife or the person. Trust yourself. I was sent here on a shlichut for today, for right now, for this moment. You know, I don't know how long it's going to last, but this is my shlichut for today. So we go to fears. Number one is have a backup plan for a thought. I know that sounds funny, but what I mean is there's two things. One is if I'm having a repetitive thought coming to me all the time, we are taught this is coming from the Yetzer Hara. It's not coming from a good place. It's unstable, right? I'm creating something unstable. It's coming from a place of tuma. Tuma is blockage. It blocks me. How do I know that? It repeats itself over and over and it brings me down. Okay, it causes separation. Always when we see, okay, is this causing me to feel more united or more angry and upset and disunited? You can very objectively put it on a piece of paper and say, well, what is this thought making me feel? Because the thought makes me feel, right? So the beauty of our brain is that we can only hold one thought at 1 second. So if I have a thought and I realize every time I think this thought, it's a repetitive thought coming to me, it's coming from the Yetzer Hara, I need to put something else in my head. I need to have a backup plan, right? Because a good thought coming from Yetzer Hara will be one only. It won't repeat itself. And if you don't act on it, it's gone. So if I have like a thought like, oh, I'd love to, I'd love to call that person and wish them a happy birthday. If I don't act on it right now, I'm telling you all day long, you're not going to be thinking, I need to call them. I doubt it. Like you probably will forget about it. And maybe, oh, I wish I forgot about it. And I feel so bad, right? Because it was a thought of unity. So we have to have a replacement. We get a thought and we're realizing that, this is repetitive. I have to examine my thoughts. I have to look at it. What's it for to not, this is what the whole idea of I have to do cheshbon nefesh, right? I have to examine what my thoughts are. So it's my thoughts are, I'm going to fall. This is too much for me. And this is happening every single day. You're waking up to the thought of I'm too tired. This is too much for me and I'm going to fall and I can't handle this. And how's it ever going to get done? So then we need to have some mantras of new thoughts. Simple. It's simple. It might not work for everybody, but it's a simple thought I'm saying. Just new mantra. Even if it's something like, okay, I'm going to drink a cup of water right now. That's going to be my thought. Every time I start having this thought, I'm going to think to myself, I'm thirsty, and I'm going to go get a drink of water. And I'm just going to distract the thought. New thought. Chalavai should be something positive. Gratitude, right? Like I was saying this week about, I'll have to tell you, my husband, when he called the mechanic, and he's like, I really don't think we can afford to have a car anymore. Like, it's just gotten too crazy between the insurance and the gas and fixing the car all the time. Like, it's like we'll just take a taxi or whatever. And I'm like thinking to myself, we're getting older. Like, this is going through it's like, I walk a lot, right? But there's certain things, I could get a taxi from the supermarket. Like everybody else, like I did also I used to schlep on the bus with the super. So like, I did that before. It's not that, but I started getting into these like, oh my God, he's telling us like, we're gonna get rid of the car. I don't know how to say it. And I just saw myself going down a spiral of what it meant, because that's so much. It means so much more. It means so much more of not just. It wasn't just like a logical decision of like, oh, this is like gains and economic goal. Meant so much more emotionally to me when he said that to me, and I was like, we're gonna put that on pause right now, thought, and I entered something else. It's not that we'll talk about it when we need to talk about it. It wasn't the moment to talk about it also when you have such a high bill of something. Like, you can't make a decision based on that. And it was such a thought that would lead me to so many negative thoughts. I stopped myself and I just that's something else. Let me think about something else right now. Okay, then we have another one, which is actually this happened. It was so exciting. This person called me in hysterics about something economically also, actually. And it was that they were being sued, or no, it was that they thought they were going to be sued. I mean, I don't even know what's happening. Like, I wasn't sure what really is the reality and what was the fear of going to happen, but it doesn't matter. For me as a person listening, it doesn't matter to me what's real or not. She's in it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I was trying to understand what is happening. Like, I'm like, oh, is that the amount of money that they're saying you have to pay? No, but that's how much it could be. I could lose everything. Like, it was hysterical. I could lose everything. And going on. And then I stopped for a moment because I was thinking, oh, I want to try to bring her to how, like, reality, and that wasn't working. So I said, okay, so let's just pretend like you lost everything. What would happen then? Like, sometimes you have to deal with your Yitzhak like that. Okay, so yeah, I won't have money to, like, yeah, we'll be on the street. What? So what? Okay. No. And then what? Like, let's go through it. No, really, let's go through it. So, like, the person, God forbid, like, I don't know, some kind of news, or they told it very hard. There was a story, a person who was told hard, by a doctor, horrific, life, like, threatening. No, you have like 1 month to live. He kept hearing it over and over, them telling him this, and he was finally like, okay, let's do my sped. Let's just do it already. He lived another 10 years. He couldn't stand the constant, like, what will be. So he said to them, okay, I'm dead. Like, let's get it out of the way. This is, here's the will, here's what's happening. Let's already give me the sped now. And then he lived another 10 years, right? Or the person who's like, the child will never get married. They're never going to get married. They're never going to get married. And okay, so let's go to that extreme. They're 120 and they go to the grave single. Guess what? They probably will, even if they're, no matter what, you're going by yourself. Like, you go to an extreme sometimes, and you just accept, all right, I'll accept the worst situation, because anyways, it's a fantasy. And so the cat ate me. Now what? Usually when you go to such extreme, actually, you realize either that you're silly, it either enters into the logic of that's actually not really happening, or you realize that, even that extreme situation, I'll somehow deal with it, because like everyone else has in that situation, they actually have dealt with it. They've lived lives where they haven't had something. And then we have something, this is Koach HaMuna. And Koach HaMuna, I was looking at this and I was thinking to myself, you have to be very careful with Koach HaMuna. Because when we're having a pachad, look what happens. All of a sudden, they're having this fear. And then you have, like, Caleb, he's such a good guy, I'm like, he's so good, And he's like, no, like, he's trying to calm them down. We will go and conquer it. Surely we can. Why? He says, like, he's like telling them, basically, that's for me, someone saying to you, like, have Amunah, it's going to be okay. That doesn't help with everybody. So then where am I adding the element of Amunah in our fears? Amunah is not something that you get all of a sudden one moment, you guys. Amunah is a way of life. It's mamish, a way of life. It's not something somebody tells you or somebody gives you. It's something you live with Amunah. My husband was telling that in the name of Rabbi Nachman, that when it says that that land eats its inhabitants, Eretz Yisrael is Eretz Shel Amunah. Mm-hmm. You see hashgacha practice here in ways that are not normal, right? You're under a kisei kavod. Eretz, it's ratzon, it's Hashem's ratzon. If you're living a life of ratzon Hashem also, you're seeing hashgacha practice in a way that you're not in tune to if you're not living Hashem's ratzon, because you're not even in tune to Hashem, right? That means it eats us up with Amunah. if we look at it that way. You get intoxicated with the Eretz Yisrael in a way. When people always ask me, why'd you make Aliyah? All I say to them is, I don't know in a logical way why I made Aliyah. I made it because my neshama called me to be here. There's no reason, based on where I'm coming from. Okay, maybe if I was coming from a different time zone of in like different period of life and country, but where I come from in my life time zone, it's only because my neshama is telling me that it's drawing me to the land of Emunah. It's drawing me to Eretz, and it's so conflicting here. It's so hard to be here. They don't want to get it. They don't want to go. I understand them, actually. We have a good in the Bamidbar. We have a direct connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and they're saying there's no way we connect to Hashem in a way where we have to work at it. But Hashem's saying, I'm saying a shlichut, on a mission. I want you to work on your relationship with me. It should be handed to you, because then there's no relationship. You're going to take it, you know how it is. Which is so, I was thinking about this also. If Emunah is a way of life, I start living a way of Emunah, then I will be able to myself say, Hashem said it's going to be good, it's going to be good. Even if I can't see it right now. It's a way of life. It's looking, it's like when a person, how do you start living a life of Emunah and the awesomeness of the Kadosh Baruch Hu? You just contemplate nature. That's what Rabbi Miller says. Just go outside and look at the sky and realize that the sun does not blow us up. And it is so hot. How is it that I heard 13,000 species have been identified in the sea of fish? 13,000 species have been identified. We don't know what's not been identified. How does HaKadosh Baruch Hu feed 13,000 species? I'm not talking about how many millions of billions of trillions of fish there are. How does he provide food for all of them? If you sit there and contemplate for 1 minute about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu can provide food for the fish, I then can instill in me a little bit of emunah that Hashem will provide for me what I need, my bread, right? It's true, I might not have iced coffee every day outside, but I can be provided for. I will never forget when they did the new garbage dumpsters in Jerusalem, right? It used to be the big green ones where you just drop it in, and then all of a sudden this like gray thing, and it's got clothes. And why do they do this? They changed the whole entire system for the cats, that the cats should not go into the garbages. So we're walking in the street one night, me and my oldest son. How many years ago is this? I don't remember. 7 years ago? 6? Yes, 7 years ago. I'm walking the street. Yeah, it was they just did it. He was 14 years old. We're walking the street, and I said to him, Avram, I actually feel bad for the cats. Yeah. I was like, that was their ocha, and he looks at me and he goes, Mommy, Hashem afones et hakol. Like he's like, Hashem is the one who gives it. He's like, you don't think Hashem can mistader with this? And you know what? I've not yet to see not a fat cat. I'm saying in Har Nof, people now give them food. They're getting it easier. They don't even have to work for their food because they have so much emunah, right? And I looked at my 14-year-old child who teaches me so much all the time that children teach you more about emunah because they take it at level of what you're teaching them. If you're telling me, potech et yadecha mitzviko chai ratzon, mommy, and this is what we're being taught. Why aren't you living it? That's the question. Why are you just saying it? Live it, feel it, experience it, and yes, talk it. Because when you talk it, the moment you start speaking about it differently, what a gorgeous place I just was at. I took pictures. Look at the coconuts on the side. I don't know, exotic. I don't know. Wow, and you become a tourist when you take sunsets of your own backyard. Someone, Sarah, right? She posed her father should be well. He's having surgery tomorrow on Friday. And she posts for our chat group, right? The sunrises, or I'm not sure if it's sunrise or sunset. I can't remember anymore right now. I think she does both, or sunrising.
Usually
sunrise. The point is that you would think maybe she's a tourist and traveling Italy right now, and she's sending us a picture from another place, right? And no, the message is, yes, the message is I'm a tourist here. So let me look at the beauty of it and enjoy it because I'm going to leave this country tomorrow. That's what a tourist does. I'm leaving here tomorrow. Life is too short. Life is way too short. We have to stop letting the cats grip us with fear and the noflim, the falls that we have in life, and we realize we fall. V'takum. The tzaddik is not a tzaddik. The tzaddik only becomes a tzaddik because he fell, not because he got, meaning the falling is what makes him into a tzaddik, not the getting up. Mm-hmm. Of course, no, I don't know. Both of those are what make him into a tzaddik, to think about that. But my point of the matter is that if he would not be able to get up if he didn't fall. And that's what makes him a tzaddik, right? Is the person who says, I will embrace and live a life of emunah, which is I'm going to change my thoughts. I'm going to try to, when I have one thought that keeps getting repetitive and I've examined it and I see it's only becoming negative to me, it's bringing me always there's a koach of achdut in this world, and that's the koach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Anything coming from the other side, which is tuma, which is a blockage, which is a lack of unity, is coming from the other side, and it will separate me. So where's this thought coming from? Really examine it. People talk so much and they think so much. They might as well examine what they're thinking and actually see, is this real or not? Is this a 1% chance it could happen? Maybe it's even a 50% chance of it happen. But why are you making to 100% already, right? Where's your reality right now? Another tip, actually, for dealing with fears and anxiety is to ground yourself into right this moment. Right this moment. Is the cat eating me? Right this moment, like, I fell. And am I falling right this moment? Is this happening right this moment? Are we selling the car right this moment? Because when we are, if we have to, I think I'll deal with it, actually, because I'll have to, because it's my shlichut to deal with it. And to have achdut, and not to be separated, and not to start thinking this thought and this thought. And I also realized yesterday, I was so dehydrated from walking and not having my water bottle, that also I was very irritable. It wasn't the time to talk about things, and also because I have my only time I can go to the supermarket. I have once a week where I do my big shopping, and I didn't have a card then, so I didn't do it. And that it meant that I know, like, it means that everything is going to, it changes my whole week. It changes my whole distribution of like what I can do and what I can't do. And I'm going to have to I told my husband, I said, you have to go. Like I was working till 11 o'clock at night last night, 11:30, whatever. I'm like, you're going to have to go. I just can't, And there's certain things always you can get them a call at Baruch Hashem. I'm saying we didn't do, we were still not doing the hugest shoppings that there are. It's fine. But you have to readjust and say, okay, what can I do in this moment? Am I also dehydrated in this moment? Should I take a drink before I start thinking too much about it and analyzing things about too much about it and talking too much about it? I'm telling you, it is so hard to have shalom. If I could just tell you I'm working 24 hours, I really am saying 24 hours because I think even my sleeping, I'm trying to work at it because it's so important to me and it's so hard for me. Challenging, I'm saying, for a lot of different situations, a lot of different relationships, but I'm trying so hard. I want to have shalom with myself and with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I don't want to be complaining all the time. I think that the reason actually the spies, I told you about Miriam, and then they get into this, but there's also, why didn't Rashi say, I'm just curious, why didn't you show us that in last week's Parsha you were kvetching so much, and that's why when you enter Eretz Yisrael you see the bad. Like, stop kvetching, because you're only going to see bad when you kvetch. Right? No, really. When I'm kvetching and complaining, and even the little things, I'm trying to like change the attitude of my house right now, that when someone tells me a complaint, I just will say to them, I want to hear it in a different way. I want you to ask, what I mean by, I specifically say, I want you to tell me what you want and don't complain about what there is. Like a certain, like let's say the cucumbers were chopped in, she wanted slices and they were round. I'm like, I'm trying to raise benches here. I want you to, without complaining about you complaining, I just tell me what you want. Don't tell me that you hate cubed up computers or computers and cucumbers, right? Tell me you want slices, or tell me you want, right, circles, or tell me you want to make a happy face. Just tell me what you want. And ask me though, Mommy, can you please do it? And if you can't, accept it, that maybe I can make you the circles also. We want what we want. I see it all the time. You have two people and each one wants what they want. It's not great. So you want what you want. Do you want shalom? I mentioned this last week and I'm saying it again. Ask me what you want. Do you want shalom? Because that's going to be long lasting. You want to fight about the cucumber? Fight about the cucumber. You don't have time to make her a new cucumber. It's fine. But just clarify how you're talking to each other about it and don't get upset about it. And remember, she's seeing this and you're seeing that. And neither of you are seeing the reality unless you're seeing the reality of Achdut, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We should be really zoche to look at life as tourists. I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's really not easy. I'm saying this is hard work. We should be able to channel our thoughts and our emotions and our actions into one of Achdut and trying to enjoy life and enjoy the shlichut that we were sent to do. Mamash, we should be blessed to enjoy the shlichut we were sent to do. Bezat Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.